CoinDesk. We're here at DevCon 5 in Osaka, Japan. I'm joined by Tong Tong, Chief Operating Officer of Amberdata. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
Yeah, it's great to be speaking with you today. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you got involved into the crypto space. But before I do, I know that your background, your professional background is in developing, code developing. Why code developing? What made you want to do this as your line of profession?
So when I moved to US, I was born and raised in Beijing. So when I moved to US long time ago, when I was 17, let's not show my age, and I didn't really speak English that well. So when I was in college, you need to pick a degree, a major, and I was so intimidated by English, and I don't understand class, I have to record it. So I asked my advisor, which major should I choose? I don't have the right papers. And but the professor looked at me and say, computer science, you can write code, right? Panzan include, and import some libraries, and then you just, do functions and codes. So I'm like, I can do that. At least I feel, I'm very competitive. At least I feel I'm in the same starting line with all the other students. I feel disadvantaged if I'm, competing in like English is the.
And was it generally a lot of male students with you? Were there any females?
I think I was like only 2 girls in class. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so transitioning then from kind of a traditional coding background, what was it like getting involved into the blockchain crypto space? Did you feel like it was a big leap into a new type of coding? Did you feel like the audience and the people you were working with were very different from the classmates you had?
Actually, for me, it's not, because when I started my career, my main focus is cloud computing. It's distributed computing, distributed storage. So, you asked me how I got into crypto space. I got the opportunity. I was approached by Bobby Lee, of all people.
Really?
Yeah. I worked with him in Shanghai for a couple of years, and so when he started BTCC back in the day, he tapped me and asked if I want to join. And I'm like, what is a Bitcoin? I don't want, that's crazy stuff. So I blew him off. I didn't join BTCC, I know. And it wasn't until Ethereum launched, I start really reading and research, and Ethereum as the global computing platform, smart contract, there's a lot of similarity with cloud computing and distributed storage. And I just feel like, wow, this is the next global compute platform that's going to enable decentralized apps. So that's when I'm like, okay, I'm quitting my job. This is it. I'm doing this.
So it was really Ethereum that sparked that.
It's Ethereum that brought me to this space. It really is.
That's really interesting. So transitioning a little bit to talking about your position at Amberdata, which for those of you guys who are watching this don't know, Amberdata is a blockchain analytics company that specifically focuses on data on the Ethereum blockchain. So, do you want to talk a little bit deeper on why Amberdata focuses on Ethereum data as opposed to data on other blockchain platforms, the biggest being Bitcoin, other smart contract platforms being Tezos? Tell me a little bit about the differences of siphoning data for the Ethereum blockchain as opposed to all these other blockchains.
Sure. We just actually launched Bitcoin support last week.
Really?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. So we started with Ethereum because it's not just a payment of cryptocurrencies, because the EVM enables smart contract development, and it's just a lot more interesting and a lot more potential, I think. So that's what got me in, and my co-founders, obviously, we all have the same vision. We see Ethereum as the platform for people to build dApp on top of it, right? It's the leader still today with the global community supporting it. And so to be able to understand the storage, the compute, the consensus, the EVM, the instrument, the whole data layer is very interesting to us. And also, we also feel like there's a difficulty on-ramp for most people to start developing on top of Ethereum, because if you think about the global development community, it's huge. But the blockchain developers are just a sliver of it, right? Because most people even developer gets intimidated by blockchain. They're like, oh, what is this, different terminologies and whatnot. And for me, the important thing is making Ethereum easier for people to develop on top of it. That's why we're doing a lot of data pooling, and we normalize and process that and provide that in a single API. So all of a sudden, any developer can build on top of Ethereum.
So if you could choose one piece of data on the Ethereum blockchain right now that you think Amberdata makes easier to understand and also is a very interesting type of data that people should be watching out for, what would that piece of data be?
For example, and with our API, you can simply call to say, I want to see when this token launched, who bought all the tokens, and then of all the token holders, what other tokens they hold. And because we also have market price data across exchange, in historical price too, you can say, what's your portfolio, how much is worth 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and today. So we can actually able to draw out the entire portfolio management of everyone on chain with a few API calls, so people don't have to query each block at a time. You know, because Ethereum mine a block every 15 seconds, and if you want to get a year history of some movements, you have to query every single block that's within the year. So we make those kind of things very easy for people to understand.
Gotcha.
Build on top of it.
And Tong Tong, how long have you been working with Amberdata again?
We founded the company August 27th, 2017. It's
2017.
the day of that total eclipse.
Okay. So interesting fun fact of when you guys started. So I know that you told me just a little bit ago that you guys have 6 team members for Amberdata, and you are currently looking to hire more people.
Yes.
Tell me about what you think is most important for a blockchain. What kind of skill set and what do you think is the most important trait for a blockchain developer to have to succeed in this space?
Curiosity, intellectual curiosity. Because first of all, I don't believe you can be a good developer without the intellectual curiosity. And in blockchain space, that's especially important, right? Because like today we support Ethereum, Bitcoin. We intend to add 7 more blockchain by the end of the year. And they all a little bit different, there's similarity, and without the intellectual curiosity, you just can't keep up in this space. And so that's the most important thing for us.
And I have to ask, I mean, among your teammates, are you the only female? Are you the only woman on the Amberdata team?
It is true. Sadly, I'm the only female on the team. I'm going to change that though.
Yeah? Do you guys consciously try and keep a gender balance? Or is that one of the goals that Amberdata has in the team?
I wouldn't say it's a goal, but I'm definitely a supporter of all kind of movement, like female empowerment, right? But at the end of the day, our hiring decision is based on qualification, right? Because certainly I know I don't want to be hired because someone think I'm a woman to hire me. I want people to hire me because I'm qualified. So I don't say that's my hiring requirement, but I definitely, you know, every time I see a female resume come across my desk, I'm excited to read that for sure.
Are there many of those? Do you think that there's...
Not many,
no?
Unfortunately. I think in tech in general, it's just less women, and then in blockchain, it's even lesser, right? That's the known fact. I think we just have a pipeline problem.
A pipeline problem? What do you mean?
Not enough growth in engineering degree, not enough women stay in the workforce as engineer, and not enough women branching out and jumping into crypto space.
And why do you think that is? Do you think that there's anything that can be done to change that?
A lot of things, community, mentorship, the support from everyone. It's women supporting women, and also as being a partner, being a parent, being boyfriend, being husband. It's everyone have to be very supportive. I was recently on a panel in MIT Enterprise Forum. They asked about our upbringing, about at what age do you realize that you can do things boys can do too, or you're smart too? And I thought really hard about it because I never thought about that before. It was my upbringing. My parents never made me feel like I'm less than a boy, right? So, and I think a lot of maybe when we bring up our kids, we should say, hey, girls don't really have to play with Barbie. Girls can play with Lego toys too. Right?
Or blockchains.
Or blockchains. Or coding, yeah.
Gotcha. And I know that Amberdata, along with, like you said, launching 7 new blockchain platforms by the end of this year, hiring, making the team bigger, you guys are also planning to do a bunch of fun things next week. after DevCon. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Amberdata has on the agenda for next week?
Yeah, so we're heading to Tokyo next week, and in between, we're sneaking away for 2 days in Kyoto, and I've never been there, so I'm really looking forward to that trip.
Gotcha. And then here at DevCon, you said this was your third DevCon, so you've been to two others. So far, do you feel like it's the same vibe? Do you think there's anything different about the crowd this year here in Osaka, Japan?
I just got here today. I haven't had a chance to walk around yet, but it's always exciting. I love the Ethereum community. I think we talked about before, right? It's one of the most open community there is in any ecosystem, and you can see like the size of DevCon is getting bigger and bigger every year, right? I remember Cancun, 2 years ago. It's still very manageable. Now we have like 3 different floors and flowing, but it's really good to see like old faces and friends, and it's really good to see the projects that you respect, the team that you respect are thriving. They're still here, they're still kicking it, and so it's really good to give everyone a hug and say, hey, good job. It's really good. I love the community. That's part of the reason I started my journey. Yeah.
I know this is kind of a common criticism of how Ethereum has grown, but that it's just grown exponentially. That before in like 2016, 2015, it was just a handful of people. But now the community has really gotten global. Do you feel as though there is that still the same level of camaraderie and the same level of the community that there was back then? Do you feel like that's something that has continued on over the years despite how large Ethereum has grown?
I believe so. I still feel like we're a very tight community. Like I don't even know how many hugs I gave out this morning already, just from just good at seeing people. And I think in general, Ethereum community is very collaborative, right? We struck like very organic striking partnerships, and very organically we shout out to each other on Twitter, and especially in the women's space too. I saw the crypto chicks walking down down the what do you call it, hallway, and there's a lot of supportive women, Jamie Moy as well. So it's just a lot of supportive women in this space as well. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Finally, as a kind of last question of what our listeners and what our viewers should be looking out for Amberdata, any partnerships in the pipeline, any interesting projects in the pipeline that people should be watching out for in the next couple months?
We just announced a partnership with Symphony. So Symphony produced a chatbot for all the financial institutions, and we become the crypto data provider for them. So that's super interesting, because for us, it's all about connecting the crypto economic data, right? It's the on-chain activity and then price data, because one without the other, the crypto economic doesn't work. So be able to provide that data for Symphony, it's very exciting. So at the end of the day, we're all about providing transparency and data access to people so they can understand, the price is not just about pump and dump, right? There is actually correlations between on-chain data and price data. And so making that available is really what they're here for.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much again, Tong Tong. It was lovely talking to you and getting to know your
Christine.
Crypto background. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Christine, and we're here at DevCon.